Alright, so I'm working on doing some of the fading effects again, and just like the SP SD40M-2, we're doing some effects like this. So I've already done the discoloration on the fuel tank, this stuff here, and I've done the chipping effects. Same on the other side. I've also added some of the chipped Scotch Guard on the Union Pacific lettering on the high hood here. But I didn't want to rehash all this again because you guys just saw all the videos on the SP SD40M, but the fading effects I'm going to do are just the same, and I'm just going to show a brief clip of me doing it on this Union Pacific SD60. So just like before, I'll take some light gray, mix it down with some white, and I'm going to do some minor fading effects on the roof by just applying it to certain areas of the doors on the roof. Again, I'm not trying to make a big deal of this. I just want to model some of the starting of some of these paint chips. So what we'll do is I'll put a few on here. So it's these little effects though that I think really make the model, so it's important to try to model them. And since there was some chipping on the walkway of this engine, or the fuel tank, I figured I probably better model some on the top too. And a common area where the heat, especially where heat damage occurs, is on these doors and panels on the roof. So that's why I wanted to add these little bits of the fade to the top portion of the engine. So I'm just gonna add them here. Again, not going crazy, just a few. A little bit on the top here as well, on top of the air filter box, or the cabinet. I want it just at the top there, I don't want it bleeding down the sides. But just some little effects like that. Add some more detail to the engine. And Union Pacific locomotives, it's very common to see this kind of effect on the roof, so I figured I had to put it on here, since it's, like I said, pretty common on these. So I'll just do a little bit more. I'm gonna whitewash them there. And then, just like on the SD40M project, I'm going to take a clean Q-tip, and in these heavier areas, I'm going to clean them up just a little bit with a Q-tip, run over it really fast to make some of those chipping effects, like this. Oops. Alright. So that's basically it. So with that done, what I'm going to do now, because just like the SD40M, I want to fade this down just a little bit, and of course enhance these chipping effects on the fuel tank. Sorry, I can't speak tonight, guys. I'm kind of tired. That's the problem when you work all the time. By the time you actually have time for models, you're tired as hell, so I start to mumble a little bit. Okay, but in all seriousness, I'm going to fade this down just a little bit with the airbrush again. I'm not going to go as crazy. I'm basically going to do maybe 1 or 2 coats, and I think that'll be just enough. So I'll just start working on the tank. Just see where this gets me. So that looks pretty good, so I'm just going to roll with that. The mixture seems to be just right, so I'll go down the sides of the engine and just tone down that yellow just a little bit. Not too much though. Got a little wash on there. That's alright, we can take that off. Hit the top again. Again, just kind of keeping this fade mix relatively light. Carefully turn it around here and do the same. Just toning down that bright yellow just a touch. Not too much, but just enough. Okay, fuel tank up again. So you can see what that does. It's not extreme, but it's just enough to tone everything down a little bit and kind of tie everything together. Wrap this around a little bit. I'm going to hit the front of the engine now with the airbrush. Sorry the lighting's not too great here, guys. It's pretty hard doing this, but my shop light's not the best for this kind of work. I got a question too in the last video regarding masking the windows when I do something like this, and I don't normally do that just because I can easily take the fading off, or just take it off the windows with a Q-tip. It washes right off since it's acrylic. But basically that's the light fade down, so what I'm going to do is clean the windows off real quick. I'm going to put a dull coat on this to seal everything up, and we can move on to the next steps.